Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT The Game, Season 3, Episode 8. We are just 3 weeks away from NXT Takeover Shine, and we have quite a few matches tonight. We have quite a few, things that we're building towards the pay-per-view. We are 4 or 5 matches announced. After tonight will be 6 or 7 matches announced, and we'll just continue on as Shine is coming through. As you guys know, like in the first season and the second season, the first set of Takeover, it's really building towards bigger things, so we're fleshing it out. First takeover is always a little more rushed than the rest, but we have eight actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 actually, 8 episodes in between takeovers. The first time we had 6, second time we had 7, so we actually have one more than we usually had. Anyway, I'm talking really quick and I apologize. Let's get straight into the action night on NXT. All right, we have footage from earlier now, videotape footage from before the show airs, of Enzo Amore getting into an altercation backstage with The Miz, and The Miz throwing his cup of coffee into the face and onto the clothes of Enzo Amore after a heated discussion. The camera shows Enzo Amore looking stunned. Not only stunned that Miz did this, but he did not actually fight back, but more so got with a "I'll get you back later" look. As you all remember, the first episode, The Miz was interrupted by Enzo Amore and vice versa. They've been really going back and forth and jawing, so the awesomely soft storyline has continued. We now see Manifest Destiny, that of Kevin Owens, Charlotte, Big Cass, and Carmella arriving in the back tonight. Tonight, it's going to be Kevin Owens and Big Cass in the main event, taking on Samoa Joe and Apollo Crews. Renee Young, I need to figure out why they keep getting such low ratings. Maybe a gimmick change. Welcome to NXT, says Renee Young. Tonight, we will have one hell of a show with American Alpha in action. La Sombra, who as of last week has been confirmed to be facing Mr. WWE and NXT Takeover Shine in action, as well as tonight's main event. Also, just as Renee's continue to talk, we get the awesome blaring throughout the entire arena. Corey Graves says guests will be starting off NXT tonight with The Miz. As The Miz looks down at Renee Young and Corey Graves, he turns his head to the stage, but is jumped from behind by Enzo Amore, causing him to roll down the ramp and towards the ring. The Miz is fighting to get up, but Enzo Amore is absolutely all over The Miz as wrestlers, road agents run out, including Commissioner William Regal. NXT appears to be upping the testosterone in Season 3, with more wrestlers taking actions into their own hands after not having much of this at all the first 110 plus episodes of 2 seasons. So now, as you guys all know who have been following, I'm not a big fan of, sneak attack angles. But for the first half of the season, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of backstage attacks, a lot of sneak attacks. I don't normally do it, but I've done a lot of other things, and I haven't really done this yet. So we're going to be doing with this is the new era, quote unquote, in WWE. So in NXT, we're going to be taking a lot more action into our hands, into the wrestlers' hands. Now, a music video is shown to promote the NXT Light Heavyweight Champion Tyler Breeze, who will be facing, as of the Global Cruiserweight Classic, Johnny Gargano, of course. Um, Gargano won the Classic, so he was given the opportunity to face Breeze at Takeover Shine. All right. Wow, what a rating. And about that featured great action and average heat. American Alpha defeated the Young Bucks in 13 minutes when Chad Gable defeated Nick Jackson by pinfall with an Alpha and Alpha and Alpha. During the match, we had the feuding Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder distract the Young Bucks as the Bros v Bros storyline has advanced. And basically, American Alpha would have won this match regardless, but Mojo and Zack Ryder, with the interference, really just sticking it to the Young Bucks, who like to be, super kick parties and stuff. And this is really showing, getting under the skin of the Young Bucks that the Hype Bros also like to party. We get highlights of the huge NXT Global Cruiserweight Classic and a huge finale with Johnny Gargano and Rich Swann, both advancing further expected, tearing the house down to the finale with Johnny Gargano. It says that next week on NXT, we'll get that rematch with Gargano taking on Rich Swann. I kind of cheated here. I put William Regal, but I'm not cheating technically because William Regal was technically put together the Cruiserweight tournament, but I included him to try to bump up the rating, and it worked, so that's great. All right, now to the next match. In the match, there's some good action, but not heat. The returning Alex Kozlov, who's continuing his NXT trial, is defeated by La Sombra by pinfall with a Pelante driver. La Sombra is celebrating a match over Kozlov, who's running through his trials here in NXT as the fans begin to boo, with Mr. NXT showing up on the ramp. Kozlov leaves the ring. Mr. NXT starts to pace down towards the ring, looking at La Sombra, asking, "You don't want any, you don't want any." As he hits the apron, though, La Sombra looks ready, but Mr. WWE stops and points to behind La Sombra for some reason, telling him to turn his head. As he turns around, there's a woman standing in the middle of the ring, decked out in a similar mask to Mr. WWE. Mrs. WWE? Asking Corey Graves. Corey says, asking the question, yes, that is her name, Mrs. WWE. Mr. WWE takes a foot. Mrs. WWE takes a step forward and leaps up and nails La Sombra with what appears to be a phenomenal forearm type maneuver and lays out La Sombra, lays him out cold. Mrs. WWE looks to Mr. WWE, who slowly enters the ring and begins to pound on La Sombra until the bell rings over and over and over and over, and the referees and road agents are sliding out of the ring trying to break things up. The fans are booing as they step away from La Sombra, the referees and road agents checking on him. Mr. WWE looks at Mrs. WWE, pulls her close, and proceeds to make out with her super hardcore in the ring. Think R-rated superstar Edge and Lita. Mr. WWE now with a microphone begins to speak. The mask, he says, smirking. Why the WWE and Disha? The emblem. Why the WWE emblem? If I'm a contracted NXT wrestler, he says, looking around. Because why not? Mr. and Mrs. WWE leave the ring to a chorus of boos. So I had this plan since last season. I held it off. Mr. WWE now has a running partner in Mrs. WWE. This is odd. I hope you guys are liking this because I'm really enjoying the Mr. WWE angle, considering the feedback and emails I've gotten. I'm assuming you guys do like them, but that's continuing. We now see footage of the debuting Nia Jax and what she did to Bayley last week. But next week, she makes her NXT debut. In a match that has some good action, but not much with feet, Becky Lynch defeats Alexa Bliss in 6 minutes with the hard knocks. During the match, we also had Charlotte, who was running in, accidentally hit Alexa Bliss. The Becky Lynch and the woo pun storyline continues here, with Becky Lynch outsmarting Charlotte this week. We see Samoa Joe and Apollo Crews walking to the ring next, because coming up next, they're facing Manifest Destiny's own Kevin Owens and Big Cass. We also again see pre-NXT taping footage of Enzo and The Miz, as well as a brawl to start the show. We descended the official graphic that we knew was coming, that at NXT Takeover Shine, it's going to be the man with the gift of gab, Enzo Amore, going on one-on-one with the awesome one, The Miz, and they will be facing off at NXT Takeover Shine. And in this week's main event, and about that featured great action and average sheet, Apollo Crews and Samoa Joe defeat Kevin Owens and Big Cass in 13 minutes when Apollo Crews defeated Big Cass by pinfall with a fast roll-up. Apollo Crews gets the victory over Big Cass. Samoa Joe, who's facing Kevin Owens, as we've already been confirmed as of the last episode, at NXT's Takeover Shine, also gets the tag team victory with his partner Apollo Crews over Manifest Destiny. Both of which just pose in the ring. I didn't type it. Both of which are posing in the ring after the match, looking over over Kevin Owens and Big Cass, basically taunting them that they got the victory. Kevin Owens not happy. Big Cass not happy. Got distracted. Carmella was doing whatever she was doing on the outside, distracting them, I'm sure. But Apollo Crews and Samoa Joe gets the victory here to wrap up NXT this week. 65, we lost its popularity in the region. I'm guessing that's because we are over 65 in every territory now, and we have to produce better shows. We will get better. We are like at 67, I think, at all of them, except for 3, which would get us to national. But either way, this was NXT The Game, Season 3, Episode 8. This was a good, not great episode of NXT, but I knew that was going to be the case because the matches weren't quite as frequent as they have been because we had to build up TakeOver Shine, and usually the second or third show before Shine, I really build it up heavy, and this was a heavy, heavy segment show. Anyways, this was NXT The Game, Season 3, Episode 8. Can't wait to continue the Mr. and Mrs. NXT storyline. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you guys tomorrow.